need to know everything. Who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me.
Hey, happy Pelicans in the playoffs day. Let's go. Yes, we did it. Miles, thanks for joining me today. We had to get in a pod, obviously, before the playoffs start, not the play-in, playoffs. We did it. We made it last night, beat the Kings. Man, we've beaten
Yes.
the Kings 6 times this season. No one's ever done that before. I'm feeling good about us. What did you think about the game last night?
Oh man, the game it was definitely electric in the blender. Wasn't there, but you could just tell by the way the players were into it. They were getting the crowd into it. Just really happy that the guys were fighting and they were letting the city know, hey, we appreciate you. We hear you. We recognize your concerns about us at home, and they handle business in their own house. So it was good. It was good to end the regular season off in that fashion and go into the playoffs with that momentum and that energy.
Yeah, and everyone, of course, national media, they don't know us and they're all picking Kings to win, Kings to win.
Right.
That made it even sweeter to see
Mm,
us come out, BI to step up, which we know he can do. He's done it plenty of times before when Zion's not able to play. Last night was a great example of that. And I think even in that interview after the game, BI did not want to talk to anybody in the TNT studio because everyone was like, yeah, without Zion, they're cooked.
yeah.
And yeah, so that's sweet revenge right there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a few things with the game last night that we're going to need to either improve on or replicate going against the Thunder. Number one seed. I like the matchups that we have actually. Like I'm not it's gonna be tough, but
Yeah.
one thing we have to clean up from the start are the turnovers. The turnovers last night were brutal because so many were just unforced errors. Like the Kings weren't doing anything to cause it. We were just messing up. So where do you think those adjustments are going to need to be made and come from for playing against a team that is as good as the Thunder?
You know, the Thunder, they're young, sort of like us. They're going to be they're going to try to run. They have a floor spacer in Chet. Um, for us, I think I like the quote, and I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but Willie Green was like, "We have to be great at the things that talent is like doesn't have anything to do with," and
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely going to be true in this because it's so important for us to have that chemistry. It doesn't take talent to have good chemistry, and just
Mm-hmm.
hey, you're going to know where your guy is. You're going to trust in your guy, and everybody just playing more fluid. A lot of times where we see these hiccups and these turnovers is because it's like, hey, you don't know like exactly what handoff or you don't know exactly what pass you're gonna make. Knowing and just trusting in your gut and your teammate trusting in whatever you do would be important, especially versus the number one seed. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they're not. I think a lot of people think it's going to be easy to bully them, and I see they're like, hey, the matchups are going to be they vote a little bit better than hey playing the Nuggets maybe, but at the same time, this is still a skilled team. It still comes down to are we going to have the game plan discipline? Are we going to trust each other? Things of that nature.
Yeah, and you don't get the number one seed without being an extremely like solid, complete team, So
Exactly.
anyone who's thinking, "Oh, this matchup is perfect for us," no, it's going to be tough. But going back to what Willie Green said, I love that quote that he said, and that comes down to like it goes back to the basics, like fighting for loose balls, getting on the ground,
Exactly.
diving after wherever, being a good teammate on the bench, being fully prepared for what you're going into. And those things don't require any talent. It literally just requires effort.
Right.
And I think, especially our bench, they've been really great at putting forth effort. I mean, last night was big time for our bench, and we're going to need that to continue going forward in the playoffs in this round for sure without having Zion. I think it's interesting how the playoffs are spaced out. The games are so spaced out. I mean, they're the days in between games, and you can't tell me that Zion and that whole Pelicans team isn't thinking, let's stretch this sucker out a little bit and let's get, Zion back on the floor with us.
Yeah, they've definitely got to be thinking, hey, if we keep fighting, we might be able to get our guy back. Like, we just got to give him the chance to come back. Now, I did see people being concerned about that, though. Maybe if he was to come back, because it's not a guarantee, would it be smarter to get him in the second unit to adjust a little bit easier, just like Brandon Ingram sort of needed a adjustment, and that's a tricky thing to deal with in the playoffs. But I think Zion will be up for the task if he is cleared to play. Because at the same time, I don't want this to be a hamstring that gets worsened because we rushed the process. I say let these young guys go fight. Let them show us what they're capable of, and I think things will fall in place. Now, granted, they do have to play the number one seed, but look, I believe in these guys personally. I think they just have that team bond that you don't see with a lot of teams. Now, OKC has that bond. They're one of the few teams that I see have that bond. You see them post game, always together. But the Pelicans have that too. So I love to see what Jose's doing because Jose's been phenomenal. Love to see what Trigger's doing. He's been phenomenal. And I really love to see what JV does this series. I think I think he'll be a big X factor this series.
I think he will too. I also would like to see CJ. It's interesting because you'll see CJ have these insane games where he's shooting lights out, and then he's
Yeah,
been real quiet since BI came back. I do feel like he's a lot more like passive and he defers to BI, which is fine if the shots aren't there, maybe, but I mean, he's capable of big things. And so I think we're going to need more than just one superstar against OKC, with
yeah,
BI. Maybe it will be JV some, but I think we're going to need CJ to step up and perform like he
yeah.
had been doing down the stretch there. So, but with all that being said, let's give our predictions for the first round of the playoffs. I'm seeing so much on like Twitter, and I don't care
Yeah.
about those people. So I want to know, what do you think for the first round? What's your prediction? How is that going to go down?
I think we get it to 6 or 7 games personally, and I'm taking the Pels. I'm not with everybody saying like I'm trying to be a realist and all that stuff.
Mhm.
I'm taking the Pels. I think they're gonna fight their way out of this. Um, yeah, and I'm curious to see how far they stretch this because I don't think it's out of the realm of possible. Like I don't think it's impossible for us to make this a real quick dub either. I think
Mm.
people. I don't think people respect the Pelicans enough, and I understand why, but for some reason, this second unit also is just way more successful. So we're going to be seeing a lot of less minutes from some guys. We'll be seeing a lot of more minutes from some guys. Let's see how that does for their confidence. Let's see how that chemistry plays out. And this is a deep team, and I trust this team more than any other team in the NBA. So yeah, I'm taking the Pels in 6.
Yeah, even we haven't even mentioned Naji Marshall. He hit some big time shots last night, and
Woo-hoo!
he came out, and I mean, and we needed him. Those were some big buckets we needed, and I'm like, he's looking to fight somebody half the time, and I
I
love
love
that energy. And you got to have that like
half.
grit, especially when you're at this point in the season. So I am like you. I'm saying I think this is going to go to 7 games. I think it's going to be a battle, but I'm taking the Pels. I don't know why the Pels can't win this. So until they
Yeah,
prove me otherwise, I'm taking them all the way in this series. I think this is going to maybe be a defining moment for this team, and what's gone on the last, at least 3 years,
yeah,
and taking another step forward. So I am so excited. I wasn't ready for the season to be over last night. I was actually like, I'm going to miss these guys if they don't win. So then
yeah.
they won that, and I was like, yes, I know I've got at least 4 more games of them.
One more at the least. And just to like piggyback off that Najee contribution, his contribution, he was just phenomenal, and I think he was one of those main providers of bringing the energy. Um, Man, that dunk with the left hand, um, got the crowd going. And I swear, if he made that three after Trey Murphy missed the dunk, that would have had the crowd definitely going. But it's those little things. It's a guy like Najee Marshall not getting any minutes in the Lakers game, coming back, knowing his team, trusting his brothers, and just balling out. That's what we need. You see it from the Najee Marshalls, the Jose, and now you're starting to see it from Trey. Trey going for the crazy dunks. He's playing amazing defense. And you just like to see these guys rally like that. So I'm with you. I don't see why we can't beat them. Especially with Herb Jones, one of the best defenders, being able to go up against a SGA or Josh Giddey or J Dub or JV checking Chet. So I'm ready to see what goes on next week. And yeah, give me 4 more games for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got tomorrow night, Sunday on TNT, 8:30 p.m. So I know I'll be staying up. I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
Part of me is like, I should just take off work on Monday because I'm going to be up late screaming and hollering. But it's going to be
I'm the
fun.
same
So
way.
yeah, I know. And then they'll be home, and hopefully we can go check out a home playoff game, which is something I've never done with the Pelicans before. So it could
Same.
be amazing time. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
we
all
got
go together.
to get it in while you can. You never know.
That's right.
Being a New Orleans fans, you never know what you're gonna get.
Yep, that's right. All right. Well, we will hopefully get back together before Wednesday's game. So we'll bring another pod before then. But until then, go Pels. And thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Go
Appreciate y'all.
Pels. Know that.
Bye.